This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
And welcome to another episode of the Double Double Podcast here. I'm your host, Darren Breyer, along with my guy, Doug Stevens, out here in Ohio. Doug, I know you got a big football game tomorrow morning, but before that happens, sir, I got a ton of basketball for you. You give me a week off, like I said here. No work. I'm going to go to work on a bit of basketball. So there's a lot to get into. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference, of course. We'll move into top 5 point guards. We'll hit the Western Conference. A lot to get into. We have the game here for me that started 11:30. Magic Celtics. We'll get into the Magic and Pacers taking a rise a little bit as well. But sir, first, how was your Thanksgiving?
Pretty good. Got to spend it with the family, the kids, got everybody together. Just nice to, we usually play a lot of cards and things like that, board games. So it's really nice to get together and play all that with everybody. So good. What'd you guys end up doing?
Well, we always go to my mom and dad's house. Like I said, the Lions game starts here at 9:30 a.m. So it's an early start. So I usually never get to watch that. Got to watch it this year. Skipped the Cowboys game. Went to the Niners game at 5:30. We ate dinner during the Cowboys game. It was a good time. Played a little categories if you're familiar with that game with the family. So a good time there. No NBA. There used to be NBA on Thanksgiving. Some of my greatest memories are on NBA Thanksgiving. Pacers, Jamal Tinsley. I tweeted that one out this week. Getting the 21 assists out there. Me and my brother, I remember watching that one. So a lot of good Thanksgiving memory basketball out there. But we got a lot to get into, double-double style here. Let's start with the Magic and Pacers taking the next step. Yes. I feel like this is kind of where I was looking at the standings, looking at relevancy. Like, we could talk about the big boys all we want all the time, but I feel like on this podcast we can kind of gives us a chance to dive deeper into some of the other teams in the NBA a little bit, take a look at them. And we got that chance here with the Magic and the Pacers. The Magic beat the Celtics today by chance. They go out and beat them all. And the more I keep watching the Magic, let's start with them first, then we'll get to the Pacers. Dude, I don't know. They look like they're ready to go. Like they look like they're. I think it was on the broadcast. They said they look like maybe they're 1 year behind OKC. I guess that's a good way of looking at it in terms of like their superstars haven't developed quite yet in that regard, but they're there. You can see them coming. And now they're starting to get a style of play. Their defense, I wrote down, I said, they're like 12 deep. They don't play all 12, but they can like play 12 decent guys, which is better than most teams. Mm-hmm. And like when you have Isaac out there who it can be a game changer come play. I mean, I'm more and more impressed by when I watch him play. The way he could guard Tatum, I don't know if you saw, like in stretches for like 2 or 3 minutes, he was able to give Tatum a problem, giving him issues. So, I mean, I know Holiday wasn't there, and it's a regular season game, or is season tournament game at that point. But Doug, I got to say, the more I keep watching the Magic, the more I keep getting more impressed by them.
Totally with you. Try to watch as much Magic as I can. The combination of Paulo and Franz, both guys averaging 19, both guys can rebound, both guys can pass. I mean, when your top 2 guys are young and they're able to do a little bit of everything at a relatively high level, it just makes everybody else's job easier. I mean, they've got Cole Anthony, who's a spark plug off the bench. They got Jalen Suggs, who's a little bit of everything himself. Dirty work, steals, rebounds, fights for the ball. He'll guard the other team's best guard. They've got Wendell Carter, who's still injured, coming back, but he's a solid big in his own right. 9.5 points, 8.5 rebounds.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you look down, you just talked about it. Jonathan Isaac he can guard, 2 through 4 effectively with his size for stretches. Now, nobody's going to shut down Tatum, but that's somebody you can put into a playoff series that gives you a little bit of a boost, in a series. I think the Magic have the ingredients to be a very competitive team come, playoff time. So I think we can
right now, and they're only 1 game behind Boston. I'm just saying, I know it's early still, but like you look at it from that standpoint, they're right there with them. You know what I mean? From there. So I don't know, like what the other point I wanted to point out with the Magic, and you can say the obvious coaching points. They look hungry. They look all these things here and there. But like I said, like their roster actually tells me they look a little deeper, right? You have the Mo guy was awesome today. He was awesome, Mo. He was really good today in the game. Franz, I know, gets a little bit more love, but he was awesome. Like I said, Carter wasn't there. I mean, I know Porzingis goes down with the calf injury. We can get to the Celtics a little bit more there. But the other thing I got to point out is like they have depth guys that I love, like in Suggs and in Cole Anthony. Like those are guys that I love. Like when you're not starting them, you're starting Black from the rookie out of Arkansas. Whatever, you're getting like 12 minutes out of him. He's pressing a little bit, fouling a couple times, like maybe even 10 minutes from him. But you're getting these guys that come in, Anthony and Suggs, who at least are going to be tenacious. Now,
right.
Playoff time, can they score enough against some of these bigger guards? I'll be a little concerned about that. But I got to say, in the meantime, I was really impressed with that combination of them today, especially in the game. And Suggs is proving he's getting like 2 steals a game. He's a legit defender. We saw that at Gonzaga.
Yes, he is. They've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 guys averaging over 11 guys averaging over 18 minutes a game. Once Isaac gets all the way back healthy, they'll have another guy. They have depth like you're talking about. They have backup centers. They have Goga, Bitides, the backup center. Yeah. That guy's a banger. He just comes in. He'll block a shot and he'll put his nose in places. Like they have a lot of those guys that are just willing to do whatever it takes. And I like that about their roster. I think they're very deep. I think that's a great point by you. That's what I mean. It starts from the top down. They've got 2 guys who are budding stars, and then they have a roster filled out to support those guys. And it's really, I'm excited for the Magic. I think this is a good team long term. I wouldn't want to see them in the first round if I was one of the top 3 or 4 teams.
So you got Banchero leading them at 19.4. You got Franz at 19. Then goes Cole Anthony 13. Suggs 12.6. So that's not your usual top score. So I would have concerns about them complete, but they have some tenaciousness that, like we're saying, to their team they have like 12 guys deep. Can Banchero reach a Tatum level? Is he that? You know what I mean? Like they're kind of a little different, I know. But like Banchero's working on the outside game a little bit, but I'm not saying he's Carmelo Anthony, but I'm just saying like he feels like he's more in that old school style where he likes it on the elbow, likes it a little bit left of that, likes to kind of work on the guys, get to his spots.
Yeah.
That's what he feels like a little bit to me. But like for them to take the next step, he would have to take that Banchero. Like Banchero would have to take Tatum's level, and he's only 4 years younger than him, right? So it's not like he's like 8 years younger than this guy. So it's kind of crazy to think Tatum's that young still. So that's one of my questions with Banchero's. Can be that? And I don't know. Like to me, that's part of it. I just think like, is there a little less to it? I don't think Banchero can get to the same levels, in my opinion, Tatum can.
No, I think, and also I think it helps Tatum because his game starts inside out, and I think Paulo has to start outside. I'm sorry, Tatum starts outside in, while Paulo is more of an inside out. Paulo's a lot better inside the 3-point line. He's improved his shot. This season, he's shooting pretty much 48%. And that's a big improvement. I mean, over 5% improvement from his shot last year. He's got to keep developing that outside shot. He's taking less of them this year, which I think helps over a 3-point attempt less this year, which I think is helping his percentages. But he's so good all around. He does a little bit of everything. And I really like that. And Franz being there also, that's such a good duo. They've been really, really good this year.
Their depth, they have bigs. They actually have like a rotation of bigs and size. That's the thing. Like, I think where the Celtics were like, I don't think the Celtics want to see them in a series.
No. Not.
I'm not saying they should be able to be. I know Holiday didn't play today, and that will give them trouble. Like I said, I think the Magic will have trouble scoring at times in the playoffs when it comes down to a good team that can really defend and knows what they're doing. But they're going to give another team, I would think, a little trouble too because of their size, their depth, and if the Wagners can if they can continue to get better like they were today. I mean, Doug, they were fantastic. I mean, like I'm just saying, like, and then you have Banchero who can go off at any time. Suggs, he's a nightmare to go against consistently. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I've been just really impressed with them as we've been kind of getting the season started. It was kind of funny today. Was it Greg Anthony was doing the game today where Cole Anthony was doing it? Cole Anthony's kind of surprised me. I kind of thought
better.
I kind of thought he was going to be a bust in some ways. Like, who's the guy on the Bulls right now? He was from North Carolina. Kind of has the
Kobe White.
I kind of thought he'd be more in that range, but it kind of feels like he's developed way more of a role with the Magic. Like he comes off the bench. He's going to be one of their main scorers. He's going to bring energy. The Magic don't ask him to defend anybody more than he should. So I feel like he's actually kind of found more of a role than I thought he was a year ago.
Yeah, no, I think Cole Anthony, he's still kind of that guy. He's kind of an inefficient scorer still to this point.
He needs to have his dad in all the games.
And that I don't love about his game. The inefficiency seems to be an issue going forward. Yes, very streaky. But I think what he's done the last 2 years that's helped him is he's not shooting as much. He hasn't have to shoot as much because they have Paulo, they have Franz, they have other guys. I think that's helped him a little bit.
Yeah,
I would like to see him be a little more efficient going forward. But having those 14 points off the bench is definitely helping the Magic as a team.
And in today's game in particular, he changed the game in the second quarter. Like he really did. He came in and gave them a real spark that they needed, like energy, getting some offensive rebounds, hitting a three off of it. He was really good today in that game. Last question I'll ask, we can just say now, I'll move on to the Pacers, is Wendell Carter enough? Is he enough at the center position to get the job done? Pacers, they're averaging 128 points a game. Mm-hmm. They're on fire. Rick Carlisle, as Tyler would say, never thought he would play this type of style. Never thought he would play this style. I mean, they're giving up 126 points a game, scoring 128, which is insane. Bruce Brown has obviously helped them immensely on the offensive end, allowed them to play even faster, smaller, quicker. He's definitely elevated their play there in that regard. And then obviously we have Buddy Hield, who's not afraid to shoot it at any point. You're going to have that always as a scare. So I feel like the Pacers have really picked up their notch. We talked a little bit about Halliburton a little bit last week. If we focus on the team, though, a little bit more, Doug, as I've been watching them, I feel like – so my thing is with like this. I've seen 3 Pacers games now, like in full on NBA on the past thing. We're rewatching them over the last couple of weeks. To me, if Turner is at his elite, that's when they're at their best. Because I feel like the other guys are going to be what they are. And Turner is what he's going to be too. But I feel like if he goes to that little level that he shows once in a while – that's when they become kind of really special in some regards, because then they have a big that can stay with, shall I say, Giannis for a quarter. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying he can, but like, it's almost like that Bogut effect for a Warriors fan out here. Like, he wasn't better than those guys, but he was still way better. Like, he actually knew what to do on defense. You know what I mean? This guy's like he's a 6-year vet now. He's a 7-year vet, like maybe even more. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a rookie anymore. So he knows some of the ins and outs. He gets a little bit more respect from the refs than some of the younger players. I just feel like if he continue, like he to me is their barometer until they make a trade. Like, okay, if they're elite, like Halliburton can score 50 all they want. Turner's the one that's taking them to the next round just because if he can stay with the bigs in the East. So, like, when I watch them play, I know we're going to talk about Halliburton and the streak he's on, but to me, he's my biggest note from the week when I rewatch the games is can he play at that level that I guess we've always questioned with him?
That's a good point. Miles Turner is having a really good season.
Yes.
17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. I mean, he's really playing well. What worries me about Indiana come later in the year, rebounding is an issue. There's not anybody on this team that really strikes me as somebody who can control the paint
and that's
in
Turner's
terms of
issue.
boards. I mean, look at their rebounding. Nobody averages over 7 rebounds besides Turner. Everybody else is 5, 4, 4, 4. 2 of their best rebounders are guards. I think rebounding could be an issue come later in the year when it's crunch time for these guys. But right now, this style of play is really exciting. They've got
120,
2, 4, 6, 8 guys averaging over 10 points a game. That's very impressive.
Is Turner, you mentioned, but I think Turner, that's why I kind of think he's the difference though, Doug. Like, if they just stick him in a playoff series, he could get 12 rebounds in a game.
You think so?
I don't know. Like,
I don't think against a good center he could though.
I don't know. Maybe not. I just feel like he's the barometer though. That's what I'm saying. Like, for them to go get a next level, he's their guy. I feel more confident. I know what Hield's doing. I know what Halliburton's doing. I even know what you know what I mean? I know what those guys are doing a little bit more. It's funny to me that Smith guy that the Suns drafted 10th overall is now on the Pacers, who a lot of people think Halliburton should have took over. They should have took him over him. And now they're both playing for the Pacers overall. Right. I like your point there with that. I mean, I don't know. That's a good point. I think rebounding is going to be an issue with them, especially when you play that fast and that small. I've seen it out here on the West Coast. It always becomes an issue when you play against teams this size.
I mean,
the foul trouble too.
That's another. I mean, they also Jalen Smith. You just mentioned him. He's had a really good season, playing 15 minutes off the bench, averaging 10 points, coming in and getting 5.5 rebounds. Those are great splits for only 15 minutes a game. But I just don't know if I believe in him or Isaiah Jackson off the bench. If Miles Turner gets in foul trouble, I think that's a problem.
Your boy Obi's playing good.
He's not a good rebounder either.
Playing good though.
He is playing good.
He's giving them like a little different look than Turner.
He gets out and runs. He's an athletic player, but he's not a center, and he does not rebound well. So
I wrote down what do we do trade wise for him, Doug? I'm looking. I did some fake trades with him. I looked at the center market is slim. I'm telling you, like there's really and to be honest, they actually have more centers than most people would want. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like they actually, I want Turner on the Warriors. You know what I mean? Like I want these guys. So like, I feel like for that point, we got Tyler Toonen. The defense stinks. Haven't seen the Warriors Mavericks with Elson try and play the way in the playoffs or as the new NBA. Yeah. I mean, until you can score that many points, it usually doesn't work out until you got to have some sort of size a little bit.
Yes.
The only thing I think they could add
here's a question. Yeah. I have some
is Grant. I think Grant's the other person they add. Like, I don't even know if it's realistic. It's just I look at the teams from like Portland or something like that, like, but that's not a size piece. It's just another defensive wing that maybe gives them a little depth there. So I think the Pacers are a little stuck in that regard. But it is kind of funny that Carlisle is playing at this pace. It is funny to see a team like ran by him playing at this high a pace. Would
you trade McConnell and Hield and Jalen Smith for Jared Allen and one other person?
Who's that other person?
I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of a player, them bringing in potentially some size to help with the rebounding issue.
I don't think you guys would trade in division. Like I always feel like that's or in conference like that.
That's a good point. I'm just trying to think of a center who's possibly gettable, and I do think for the right price, Jared Allen would be available.
I wrote him down for the Warriors early, so I can bring up some.
Oh God, we're not trading with the Warriors. We're never trading with the Warriors.
The only ones I could think like for them is like maybe Andre Drummond for like the Bulls or something like that. They could get, but I don't think he's.
But I just feel like he plays such an opposite style of basketball from you guys that it feels like he just wouldn't.
No, I'm saying back to the Pacers if they would.
Oh, to the Pacers. I would like that move for the Pacers if he could come in.
That's what I'm saying. Center. I wrote down centers available for the Warriors later, but we could use them.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Drummond to the Warriors. So I was like, I don't think he fits. You guys.
That's the only one I could think of. And then like. Do the Magic, the other trade, if we go to the Magic, because these are the two teams we'll finish up on, is like, if I'm thinking like in a perfect world, how do the Magic make this run in the East? They're number 2, Doug. They got to feel good a little bit at this time. Like, I don't think they will, but like, is Levine like, do they trade one of those depth pieces and get another scorer? We just said scoring could be an issue for them come playoff time, right? Like, we could see teams locking them up.
Okay, so let me pull up the Magic roster one more time.
So I feel like
I kind of like that.
Well, because you have Anthony, you have Suggs. Like I said, you have other pieces like Isaac in there. You got other guys like Black that you just drafted from Arkansas. You have pieces that you could move on. So you got to make the salary work, obviously.
So do you think Chicago accepts Cole Anthony, Jonathan Isaac, Anthony Black in a pick?
I don't think the Magic do it. I think the Magic want.
Oh, you don't think the Magic would do it?
I think the Magic want Cole Anthony. I feel like he's part of their identity a little bit. You don't think
if I could get Levine for those 3 guys in a pick, if I'm the Magic, I would look into that very, very much.
He just feels like he's part of their identity a little bit to me.
Man, to me, their identity is
I'm not saying he's their identity. I'm just saying for where they're at in their process right now, he feels like he slightly has an important role. I'm just saying if they take him out of the locker room, I could see. I mean, yes, maybe Levine makes up for it, but I don't know. That's a lot. You're giving up more for less, and I don't want to cut their depth that much. I'm just saying that's the guy I see that if I was going to add him to their roster,
what if you can get Levine and Caruso?
Well, then maybe we're changing things a little bit, but
I was going to say maybe.
Do you think the Magic are ready to compete at that level yet? I don't think they are.
But your point just was that they're the 2nd seed in the East.
Yeah.
So
to me, Caruso and Levine don't put you over the top. It's just that's just where I think you. I just think that's where they. I think that's where their best chance though. I do agree with that.
I don't think there's a player available that puts them above Milwaukee or Celtics no matter what.
Levine gives them a better chance, though, for sure.
I do think that makes them competitive potentially with Philly and the 4th seed.
Scores. They need the scores. That's the problem.
But Levine is a scorer. He's an easy 25 a night.
He is. You bring him in. Where does he fit with that lineup? And he's an older guy at that point. No, I get you. I'm looking at right now who they would possibly trade in a spot like that. Like I said, I think for sure you'd have to give up obviously the rookie Black goes in that deal for sure.
Yeah, I think it's Cole Anthony. I think it's Anthony Black. And then you take your pick of the third person and a pick.
I think Gary Harris, I think in a perfect world, he would go $13 million.
Yeah.
He's at $13 million. Get him for Levine in a deal.
He would do it. He would have to help with the money. The money would be.
I just think they need to keep Cole Anthony though if they make that happen. But I think if they keep Levine with Cole Anthony, now they have 4 scorers. I feel a little bit better about their chances come playoff time. Just to make an upset because now you have actual. If one guy's cold, you have another guy that can get hot a little bit. That's where I see them with that. So let me ask you this about the Pacers and then put a little bow on it. Who do you think has a better future? Like we're just talking 5 years out. We're not saying but just with these players, let's say they hypothetically stay on their team, they develop. Where do you see where you put more chips in the Magic, or you put a little bit more chips in the Pacers there?
Okay, so this is really close because I think Halliburton's so good, but give me the younger duo long term than just the one star. How's that match up for you?
No, I get that. That makes sense.
Okay, so what would your pick be then? Because man, it's hard to pass up on 25 and 12 a game. But I think the two guys potentially have. That's tough. Yeah,
I would take Magic. I would take the Magic. I believe
Paulo and Franz.
Yeah, I feel like that's the difference, man. Halliburton's good. I love Halliburton, but I don't see the second guy yet on the Pacers. I like their pieces. I like their depth. I like Tyler's guy at Arizona. His name escapes me at the moment, but I see Franz and I see Banchero, and I'm like, these guys are legit all stars. Maybe not all 10 times, but they're at least gonna be 3 to 4 time all stars in their NBA. Banchero probably a little bit more. So we'll see what happens with him. I just thought it was fascinating looking at these two teams and where they're at, just kind of in the standings too. Kind of a good chance for us to really dive deep a little bit. And the thing too is they have Joe Ingles on their team, just these little veterans on their team that you know what I mean that just got to make them annoying and a little bit they got that guy too they can throw at you and he gets hurt so I don't know. So I just like their pieces the more and more I'm watching them a little bit. So the Magic Pacers got to see them a little bit today. They beat the Celtics. Porzingis does leave that game with the Cavs.
It's not good. Not good for the Celtics. I think
Holiday didn't play today either. By the way, what do you think about that with Porzingis? Go ahead. We're worried about that.
I feel bad for him because he's a really good player. I mean, he's a really, really good player. He just always gets these nicks and injuries, and then they kind of lag on because he's a big guy. I think that's How do you feel about Porzingis? I think this is the best I've seen him play, and then he gets nicked up with a calf, and you never know how long he could be injured for.
It's why I didn't like the trade when we did our first podcast. It was I said I felt like it's almost my issue with Paul a little bit. Come playoffs he'll be hurt. That's kind of how I feel about Porzingis. Is I feel like his injury history will leave you wanting more, and he got a move today where he left their center, whatever that backup guy, the guy that's starting. I always forget his name, but whatever he's starting for Cardinal right now, starting with a G. He's starting the Magic guy.
Oh, Goga.
Yeah, Goga, and he just leaves him in the dust and shoots a free throw jumper right over him. And I'm like, man, maybe he is a little bit. And then he leaves with that straight injury, and he'll probably be out for a couple games, and he has to find his way again. And I worry about him in playoff series where it's just more of a grind. And I do think he would foul out a lot in a series. I do worry about him a little bit in that regard. But the thing today with the Magic, I got to point out is Holiday was not in the game. So that
that changes everything.
That makes everything when you have guys like Anthony who was tearing it up today, and a little bit too, especially in the second quarter. You might have Holiday there to put a little damper on that. So
let's look at Kristaps real quick before we move on.
Yeah,
if you look at his games played, his first year he played 72. His second year he played 66. 48 the year after, did not play at the injured ACL, 57, 43, 51, what is that? 61, 65. Yep. So he doesn't. I mean, he's going to miss time. It's just a matter of when, and this seems like it's going to be when. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that is worrisome. Make sure he's healthy and then bring him back. I wouldn't rush anything if I'm the Celtics just because you're so good in general.
Yeah, and like you said, like he'll obviously make a huge difference for them come playoffs. He can stretch centers out, do a lot. Anthony goes down with that injury. He returns, like I said. So a lot going on with the East there. A couple of notes actually with them I was thinking about today is the East actually better than the West for the first time? Is there actually like a chance where like some of the stars are right there? I was kind of going over the rosters a little bit. We'll have to dive deep into that a little bit more, but I wrote them down and like it's kind of a fun little debate now this year in terms of looking at stars and where the team's at and like the East, I'll say this, they might be a little bit more exciting this year in terms of like the scoring is what usually you never think of the Eastern Conference as scoring points ever. And now they're actually scoring some points. Two of the top teams in the league are from the Eastern Conference and scoring points. You never thought of that before. So maybe the Eastern Conference is making me think a little bit. Doug, maybe we have to dive a little bit more into that next week. But
I think we should. I think that's a good point. I think that's a great point. You bring that up. Who in the East do you think is the better matchup for the Nuggets if we had to do it right now?
In the East right now?
Yeah.
I think
if the Nuggets are healthy too. We have to act like they have Murray. Who's the better matchup for the Nuggets? Who do you think it is? Boston, Brooklyn, or not Brooklyn, but the Bucks, Philly. Who do you think it is?
I think Boston would be harder for them. I think the guard play would make a little bit tougher on them than having the big center like Embiid. I think Embiid and them. I think they would be fine with Embiid for some reason. I
wouldn't be worried about Embiid.
Not necessarily Embiid, but I don't necessarily trust the other pieces. And there's some parts there with Philly that I question still. I think the Celtics would create a dynamic that the Celtics maybe would have a harder time with too, where you'd have like Porzingis out shooting threes.
That's why I think it's interesting. I think Porzingis could give Jokic problems because he is so athletic at his size to be able to stretch it.
He guarded him.
No. On defense, that's a different story. They're gonna have to do something much different. But could you wear Jokic down a little bit more, making him guard the wing and maybe driving? I would drive Porzingis off the wing a little bit more. I don't know.
That's what the Bucks to me is the more intriguing one in some sense. I think
they
just do have that Dame Giannis versus Murray Jokic straightforward matchup.
But I think you put Aaron Gordon on Giannis. I don't think you have Jokic on Giannis.
Wow. Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon's a damn good defender.
Yeah.
In come playoff time, but I obviously he's not going
to. Jokic is on Lopez, I guess, if they're in.
Yeah. But if Milwaukee goes small, then you have to do something different.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
It's intriguing already. I mean, it's already fun to start. We just got to hope that Murray gets back to 100% so we can see this all really play out come time.
Yeah, no, that's a good one right there. And to see who, as we kind of move forward, that's why next week I think it'll be interesting doing that East through West because I'm starting to see the Eastern Conference take a different step than literally for the last 25 years. The West has usually been more fun.
Yeah,
a little better play. Everything about it has been better. So the East Coast we're starting to see a little bit different in that regard with the tempo, especially is what's surprising me. Who should blow it up more, the Wizards or the Bulls? Right off the top of your head, right? Who should blow it up more, Wizards or Bulls? The Bulls.
I mean, I think the Bulls would have a better time blowing it up because they can trade Levine, they could trade DeMar, they could trade Nikola Vucevic. I mean, and at least get something back. The Wizards just suck.
I agree.
Did you see the stat though that they've blown the most 15-point leads in this season? Isn't that crazy to you?
It is. They've actually been up that many points, times by 15 points. Yeah.
It's a wild stat.
I looked at it because both teams seem hopeless to me a little bit in that conference. So I'm like, who should just say we're just giving Kuzma a good pull to whatever. We're willing to take anything at this point. So that was my quick there as we got to get to the notes here. Celtics, Tatum. Tatum's going to be on these all-time lists right here, everywhere in scoring, isn't he?
Yes, he's an incredible.
He's already 14th all-time in scoring. The leading scorer in Celtics history is 26,000 all-time. He's going to put Paul Pierce is second with 24, Larry Bird third with 21, Parrish 18,000, McHale 17,000. Tatum's going to be a Celtics legend by the time it's done because I don't see him going anywhere. He's 25, like I said. he's going to be. I was just thinking about that going through this. He's going to be on. He's going to break almost every Celtics record in some regards.
Yes, he's going to be the Celtics all-time leading scorer. He's going to be the Celtics all-time. I mean,
I know champion. He won't be the best player, but he's going to hold a lot of their major stats.
I mean, what if he wins 3 titles? I think he's in the mix.
Yeah, he could be.
I mean, so if he wins 2 titles in his career, I think it's going to be hard to not have him above Paul Pierce. I think he's a better all-around player than Paul Pierce is. I mean,
you think so?
Okay, so how would you? I mean, so he would probably end up 3rd all-time for the Celtics then.
Pierce was damn good, man.
Pierce probably 3.
Pierce, what all-time scorer? He's 2.
No, I'm saying like all-time best players for the Celtics. So you could toss up Bill Russell or Larry Bird.
No, I think
third's probably. You think McHale's higher all-time than Paul Pierce?
Man, I did some rewatches of McHale. He's a bad man.
Well, sure, but
he's a bad man. He's a bad man.
To be fair, Paul Pierce was. I mean, he was battling LeBron. Like,
yeah.
I mean, he was tough, always tough. So then it's Bird or Russell, probably Russell, if you want to, because of the achievements. Russell, Bird, Paul Pierce, or what's his name? You just said his name. Kevin McHale.
Yeah.
And then 4 is either Paul Pierce or him, and then 5. Who do you think's 5?
The best scorers of all time. They have
just best players. Just best players.
Well, Bill Russell obviously is on that list for sure up there.
Yeah, he was my 1.
Yeah, recently.
Best players.
Yeah, I'd say recently up there. Probably.
So Tatum's probably already their 5th best player of all time.
Yeah. You probably
to me,
I guess, if you're for old school fans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how well that translates to today, but
yeah, Tatum would be right there.
So Tatum's probably 5th or 6th. But if he wins 2 titles, I have a hard time holding him behind McHale or Paul Pierce.
He's going to hold every major record, man.
Yeah,
he really is. He's going to be. You're right. He's going to be right there. He's going to hold all those. He's going to hold all this. The only ones he might not hold is like rebounds or something like that. Like he might, and even that he possibly could get. Last thing for the East here, Cavs. I wanted to point this out when I was rewatching some of their games this week. Is they didn't have Mitchell. I thought it was interesting. I know they got kind of killed the other night off that back-to-back, but they were playing well before. I thought it was interesting without Mitchell. And I know that Levert was even out a few games. When you guys get Allen more involved, you guys are better. So I put in one of the descriptions like he's your secret weapon. He's not really your secret weapon, but he really is. Like I said with Turner, he really is like a barometer for you guys. If you guys get him playing well, you're a whole different team. Like you really are, because he's a threat. He's feeling good about himself playing on offense. He's more comfortable like finishing around the rim. He's a lot better, more active on defense. I'm not saying you guys are better without Mitchell. Nobody. I'm not saying that. But Doug, I did find it funny watching a couple of their games. The one against the Sixers, and I know I watched the Pistons one too. I know it was only the Pistons, but it was still just fascinating for me to kind of see like his activity level when he got the ball a little bit more.
I think that's an emphasis on Mitchell being out. Hey Jarrett, we need you to step up on offense. I think that's more of an initiative from the team, and him taking some ownership of, hey, I got to play a little bit better with our guy out. I got to tell you though, just based on eye test, no stats or anything like that, Garland is better when Mitchell's out, and Mitchell is better when Garland's out, and that's an issue going forward. Your 2 best players can't be bumping
they don't coexist.
It just doesn't click as well as it should. It just doesn't click as well as it should. And with the uneasiness of Mitchell potentially leaving, I think there's going to be some hard decisions in this offseason, which sucks because.
But do you think for this year, like let's just say for this year going all in, like I feel like maybe you're not agreeing with my point, which is totally fine. But like I feel like you guys just kind of, when Mitchell's not in there, like that's what I think. I think Allen is super important to you guys. Like even if they're playing together, they need to get him the ball more. Like it needs to be an emphasis. The coach needs to say he needs to touch the ball like early in the game. Like I don't care if in the third quarter he's not touching the ball, but like in the first 6 minutes of the game, he should touch it more than he should at any other point. Like We need to make him feel good. We need to get him in the like. I'm not saying like if he's dropping the ball, but you get my point. Like there has to be more of an emphasis to get him involved on pick and roll. I don't care what it is, because when he's active, you guys are a legit threat on defense because he's a huge human being.
Yeah, he is. To support your point, he's taking a low for his Cavs career, 7 shots a game. That's not enough. I think you're making a great point. I don't know.
To me, that's why you're 8-7.
Well, yeah, why? That's where there's a lot of reasons for 8-7. But Jared Allen, I think that's a good point, is he needs to be a more concerted effort in the early offense, establish our big guy down low, and then we got our guards. I think that's a good point. Yeah, like I said, 7 shots a game is not enough for him. The other night, what game was that? Against Philly, he was fantastic. 12 of 20, 13 rebounds, 26 points. He was awesome. And 20 shots for Jared Allen. Like, that's crazy. I think that helps support your point also. He can be a really good player inside. I think we just get caught up in our guard play a little bit too much.
No, I hear you on that. I'm sorry, I got distracted. My guy out here in Memphis, my guy Ant, he's on Twitter. He just literally texted me a picture. He's out in Orlando. This guy's a chef in Memphis, so he knows his things. It's funny how Twitter relationships work over time. But he's a good Memphis guy. Loves his Grizzlies out there. He goes, hey, he just sent me a picture. Said he's in Orlando right now, sitting next to Franz and Mo. He just sent me. I love
next to the Wagner brothers.
I just thought that was hilarious. I was like, I just tweeted him back. I was like, man, we just were talking about him. I'm doing the show live with him. See if he wants to jump on. No, I just thought it was funny. So shout out my guy out there for sure. Well, he's been a follower of ours for a long time. Real legit guy. So, and works his ass off. I can tell. Hey, I've never been in the restaurant business. I've never been a chef, but I'll tell you this: that would be a tough bit. That'd be a tough call. So I know this guy works hard to get in that regard. So yeah, appreciate him sending me a pick. That it was awesome there, my guy. Yeah, back to your Cavs point though. I agree. I hear you. That if you don't have your 2 stars on the same line, you're gonna have an issue moving forward as well. But like I said, I think you get Allen involved, you get Mobley involved. You guys now have size where it's like, oh, we don't have to rely on just LeVert and these 2 other and Mitchell and Garland to do things. We actually have other players that can do stuff. And I think that's where you guys are so like Mitchell and Garland need to let go a little bit too. Like you said about trusting them, they need to trust everybody on their team. And the coach, Victor said, he needs to do a way better job of getting them more involved because if you run pick and roll every time, that's what's going to happen too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's a predictable offense for sure.
Very predictable.
I think they have done a better job recently of getting Max Strus in the game. He's playing better. That's why they had won 4 out of 5 before that loss to. That was a bad loss to Miami. The bad loss to Miami. So I think there is some positives, but I think you're right. More Allen to get started, and then obviously let your guards work into it from there. We also got to fire JB. He's got to go. It's time. He's a hell of a guy. He's just got to go.
Like I said, it's a boring offense. There's nothing there where you're like, there's no change of sides. There's no like anything there on the offensive end. Like I said, you have legit big guys. Like a good coach should know how to use them a little bit. Like I'm not saying they should be getting post-up touches, but I'm saying they should be way more involved in like the way you're using them coming off screens or rolls. Like the defense should think about them as lob threats every time. Like that's my idea if I'm running an offense with them. So especially have Mitchell and Garland who can drive to the hoop. So Celtics get there. My other East Coast note here before we move to the top 5 point guards. Detroit, 12-game losing streak. We talked about you last week. You did not win this week since me and Doug joined us last week on there. So sorry about that, my guy C. Henry out there. Doug,
2 and 13. Jesus.
Question of the week: top 5 point guards, my friends. We did this. We're saying we're not including Curry in this, right?
No Curry.
We're not including SGA in this. So I think we can have some fun with how we're going to do it. I'll let you if you want, I'll let you get the ball started here with it. Like if you want to go with your top 5 or one.
Can we each go one at a time, start at 5 and work our way up?
Let's do it.
Okay. My number 1, do you want reasoning why? Or do we just want to do the list?
I mean, you can give a little reason why, but give a little reason why too.
Okay. My number 5 right now is Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. Knicks, ever since he's gotten there, I think they are a much more serious team. His numbers have been fantastic. This season, he's averaging 24, 5 assists, 3.5 rebounds. His shooting numbers are down a little bit, but his 3-point percentage is way up. So I think you take a little bit of good with the bad. I really like the lefty game that he provides. So Jalen Brunson is my number 5 right now. This is based on this season through 14 games. So just so everybody knows, Jalen Brunson at 5.
So you got him at 5. I had him at 6. My 5 is Fox. I got Fox at 5. Fox is 5 for me. I think like
Fox
his scoring there.
5.
Fox is 5 for me. So I got him the scoring. I think he's proven in the last couple of years that he can be in that list. I think this year is starting to even prove it on the lefties. Both of us. I had Brunson 6, so it's not like I had him way off. Yeah. So that's where I had. So I had Fox at 5. That's where I got him.
I'm interested because I feel like Fox could be higher. So I'm interested who you have above him.
Well, I'm interested to see as we go as well. All right, who you got 4?
I'm going to go Dame at 4. He started slow, but he's really came on at the end of these last couple games. I still think he's one of the best shooting guards I've ever seen play basketball. So give me Dame at 4. I think the combo of him and Giannis is going to just only get better and better. This team is going to be competing for an Eastern Conference championship. So give me Dame at 4.
Dame 4. Okay, I had Trae Young 4. That's why I got Trae. I got Trae Young 4.
Trae Young is shooting 39% from the field, and he's playing on a 500 basketball team.
When I watch him play, though, I feel like the way the defense is kind of loading things towards him a little bit. I still think he gets them their best looks. He makes some crazy passes to get them even involved in certain things. I do hate some of his game, but I still think he's a top 5 point guard in the NBA if we're excluding Curry and SGA in this conversation. So I have him at number 4. Give me him because at the end of the day, Doug, he might be struggling a little bit, but like he's still a threat on the floor. He's still a space eater at times. He's not perfect, but I have him ahead of guys like Brunson. So,
okay, I don't know. I've just never been a Trae Young guy. He's 26-11 or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like if one thing goes wrong, one of his teammates are going to ask for a trade. So that's all.
I hear you. I mean, he might, but I still got him top 5 point guard. I want him on my team if I didn't have anything else.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. My number 3, I think it's Tyrese Maxey. The way he's playing right now it's his style of play. The way he's paired with Embiid. Yeah, give me Tyrese Maxey. 26, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, shooting 46% from the field. He's been phenomenal this season. Also shooting 41% from 3. Just really, really, really good this year. So yeah, give me Maxey at my 3.
All right, Maxey. I had Maxey 7. That's right. I had Maxey right now. I had 7 there.
What are these guards that you have?
I had Halliburton 3. He's 3 for me right now. That's where I got Halliburton right now in the top 5 list. Obviously, enough said. We talked about him last week. We raved about him. He's a beast. He's tearing it up right now, averaging 13 assists a game. Like old school numbers, like early 2000 assist numbers that were awesome to see. Where like guards were getting like Andre Miller type numbers with it. I would say 13 assists, 14 assists a game. So he's doing it all. He's number 3, and the efficiency he does it with is crazy. Like he has such a weird form and all that, but man, the efficiency he does it with is awesome. So he's number 3 for me.
My number 2 is Tyrese Halliburton, 25 and 13, incredible efficiency. He's got the Pacers at 10 and 5 right now. Is that is it 10 and 5?
Yep.
Got the 10. He's leading the Pacers, leading one of the best offenses statistically that we've ever seen. Give me Halliburton at 2 right now. I think his game is going to translate into playoff time too. So definitely give me Halliburton at 2. Right now. Who is your number 2?
It was your number 5. It was Dame. I still got him number 2 for me.
You got Dame at 2?
I still feel like like I said, I'm not necessarily trying to project way in the forward and look at the stats now, but I'm also thinking he is, to me, he's a veteran point guard. He's going to get fat. Like, I don't know. Like, he's the guy I want number 2. I still got him as the second best point guard in the NBA right now. His shooting depth gives it to me too much. And the guys that know how to get to the line at crunch moments, I still think he does now with Giannis. He'll be able to get that done. He'll have more freedom to shoot. So I like him at 2 still.
Okay. I have him at 5, so I think that's fair. The guy that you had at 5, I have 1. I have De'Aaron Fox at 1 right now. The way he's scoring the ball, the way he's just – I think his offensive game is really coming together well. He's scoring 29 points a game on 49% shooting. His efficiency is great. He's shooting his career best 37% from 3. His PER is really high. I think he's having a phenomenal year. I know it's not been as many games as some of these other guys. He's only played 9. But I think he's been a really, really big difference maker. And I know that's confusing to some people because of, my Halliburton versus Fox theories recently. But when you look at it and you really break it down, Sacramento,
he's been awesome.
I mean, it's just
we talked about it. He's been awesome. 30 plus. Is he still leading the league in NBA scoring? He might be.
I don't think so. I think he's dipped down just a little bit in scoring. Let me look at. I got it pulled up.
So you obviously didn't have Luka as point guard then.
Oh no, I didn't want to count Luka because I didn't think that was fair.
Okay, so if you didn't count Luka, then I'm gonna have Dame as number 1 with it. My 5 would be Brunson. That's the switch then. Like, we're not counting Luka. I had Luka.
Oh, okay. So you had Luka at 1. Then that would have made plenty of sense to me.
So I got Dame.
I didn't want to count him.
So let's go Dame at 1. I got Brunson replaces him at 5 a little bit over there. So and then can I give you the rest of what I had just for fun?
Yes, of course.
I had, like I said, Maxey 7, LaMelo 8. I thought it was an interesting point that Kenny Smith made on TNT where he said Halliburton and LaMelo are kind of the same, but he said they just because they have weird shots and stuff, but one of them does it way flashier than the other. Not necessarily that it's even better, just like if he was going to make a simple pass, Halliburton's going to do that. LaMelo's going to go behind the back.
Yeah. But
he said they're basically the same player. I thought that was an interesting take. So I had LaMelo 8. I had just because of injury, we have Murray 9. I have Cade 10, Garland 11, Morant 12. He'll shoot up that shortly. And then I'm going to throw in a little Van Vliet in there. I feel like he gets a little underestimated a little bit. If I'm going to throw him in their top 15, I feel like he should be right in there. He's averaging 8 assists a game, 16 points a game. Pretty solid player. You can't complain about him. So that's kind of my list with point guards there in the NBA. Like I said, we're not and like I said, on ESPN they have SGA and they have him included as point guards, and we didn't include Curry there as well. Curry's obviously number 1. He might be the best player in the NBA right now.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You think Curry is the best player in the NBA right now? Is that like I feel like when people are saying that, I'm like, I don't know, like that seems a little high.
Somebody has to take it away from Jokic, and they have not done that yet. They got to take it away from him.
I think Curry's like 1 or I feel like he's top 3. I think that's an obvious.
That's fine. I'm good with that, but I think Jokic is the best player in the NBA right now.
Yeah, it's because of he's just so skilled and he knows how to.
He just does everything so well.
Curry can't come up to that with the size at times like that when it comes push comes to shove. That's the difference. Push comes to shove.
Jokic is winning in win shares. I mean, he's keeping them winning games without his second best player. He's averaging 20, 28, 13, and 9 on 59%. I just think somebody's got to take it away from him. Pathetic. And it's not even really disrespectful to Curry. I mean, it's just I don't think anybody's beating Jokic right now.
That tells you how good Jokic is playing, though.
Yeah, I mean,
because Curry, you look at like those numbers; they're pretty good. So let's go to the West here a little bit. I know we're kind of it'll be a little bit of our longer show here, but I told you give me a week off, people. I will research the hell out of things. We got some basketball stuff here we're going to get into with it. And it's been fun. It's been a good Doug. Like I said, me and you could talk NBA for a while here. So as we get through the West here a little bit, this is my cup of tea here. A little West Coast basketball, a little West Coast flavor here. Mm-hmm. Suns. I got a first thing. I'll start there. They've won 5 straight. They're looking really good, but that's not the obvious thing to me that we're going to point out. The things that what I've been watching for them is a couple things. I wish Gordon played on the Warriors more. Eric Gordon, please get your ass on the Warriors. Why have you never signed with the Warriors? He should be like he just seems like a perfect shooter for the Warriors. The outside shooter does his things. We're always competing against him. Grayson Allen's been better for them than we've expected. So Grayson Allen's been awesome over for them. And Vogel's definitely not been their defense isn't awesome, but I do see the more I'm watching them, I see game plans. I see like more identities, like a matchups a little bit. So I'm liking what he's adding. But to me, the biggest thing is Nurkic. If he is on their game, like I keep saying, it's the centers that I guess the theme for tonight is the centers that can unlock the rest of the pieces is what makes these, to me, the engines really go to the next level. And I see that with the Suns. It's like they're going to double these Durant. They're going to double Beal up top. Nurkic is going to be at the free throw line a ton with the ball this season. Can he make those guards that switch pay? Can he make the lob passes? To me, like when he's on his game, he is what I say unlocks them, not knowing, obviously knowing that the other three are better. But I do see a world where, I mean, he is still making $16 million a year. He should be able to kind of take them to the next level. I would love, like, for my Warriors to have a team like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's the guy we need, like a guy at that fourth level who's a solid center that can make plays. So if he can do that, man, Doug, they become really hard to beat when you have a guy like Durant who's an all-timer.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a top 10 to 15 player of all time. They've got a Devin Booker who's a top 10 player in the league right now. I gotta give him some love.
25, top 30 at least.
I got to give him some love. Devin Booker is averaging 28 points a game.
He's been awesome.
9 assists a game. He is doing a phenomenal job setting up his teammates and running. He's running the point guard position for them. I didn't count him in our point guards, but that guy's playing a hell of a floor game right now. 9 rebounds or damn near 6 rebounds a game on great efficiency. Devin Booker continues to be a really impressive player, and I just really like watching him play. He's phenomenal. What are your thoughts on a guy like Devin Booker?
Well, Devin Booker, like we talked about last week when I left him off the list, is something that'd be in the top 10 in the finals every week. You called me all of that one perfectly. He's efficient now. He gets to his spots better. Like I remember the Bucks series, like Middleton was shutting him down a little bit at times, like getting to his spot on the right. He knows how to get in his ball handling. That's the difference to me. He can go left. He can pass off the left hand. When he goes baseline, he can make that pass to the left. He goes right. He's able to see that pass a little bit better than he was in the future, and he moves a lot better without the basketball than he did a little bit more before. And and then when you have guys like Durant, it just makes your game a lot easier. I mean, it just really does. Like at the same time, you have a guy like Kevin Durant, you're getting that easier touch. But I want to go back to Nurkic for 1 second. He's averaging almost 4 assists a game. So for them to be in that same discussion with your Jokic's, that's what I mean by unlocking him. He's going to have to be the guy making plays. Like, or they just get, because I don't know if I believe in Durant as center. I just don't know about that efficiency overall, like being sustainable and playing Eubank. So I think like Nurkic, I just, the more I watch him play, like he's the guy for me. When I watch the Suns play, that they need to unlock. So we'll see if that happens. He never was able to do it with the Blazers. He was always unhealthy, or, the Blazers weren't good enough, or they did make the Western Finals that 1 year with McCollum. So, I mean, he has it in him, Doug, but that was my big takeaway from the last couple of weeks watching the Suns.
I think that's a good point because he's had 11 and 9, 4 assists.
Yeah.
He gives them the toughness and the extra oomph that they need because you don't want Kevin Durant banging. You want him creating and doing his thing on offense. You don't want him to have to worry about banging with anybody. And Nurkic gives them that option to have. He's a good player. He's just never been healthy, so it's really hard to give him his flowers when he's just not healthy long enough to really show anybody what he can do.
My guy out in Memphis, he said these guys are damn tall. This is really.
That's awesome.
If you've been following along with the show, you know what we're talking about. Mo and Franz are tall. No, yes. When you see 2 guys that were 6'7" show up at your dinner table, you're probably you're not seeing your average Joes right there with a little bit. So, so that was fun. That was looking at the Suns there a little bit. They're rising a little bit. I kind of go to my Warriors a little bit. The Warriors woes as I have them. This won't be a Fat Boy fadeaway, so I'm going to keep. We're coming back though, Doug. Monday night. That's going to be our first show in a long time.
Awesome.
We'll do a Fat Boy fadeaway. Tyler, you'll be on there. I do love Eubanks. I do love him, but I still worry about him if he's their biggest guy against. That's my concern. Like I'm talking like.
I don't love Eubanks as your must-have backup.
Yeah, I do like him though for like regular season games. I do agree with Tyler on that. Warriors woes 7-9 at the moment right now. They were on. I had them as the 3 seed entering the year. Here's my thing with them. they're the definition of a team that needs a trade. Like if this was a LeBron James ran team right now, he would be yelling at Mike Dunleavy, I need you to trade all these young guys right now for veteran players. I need you to load up. I need you to take Mr. Kuminga. I need you to take Mr. Moody. I need you to get me a veteran player that's going to help me win right now. That is what the Warriors need. And they're just not – these young guys are not ready. Kuminga doesn't – I love Kuminga, what he brings, but he's not going to fit him. Moody's not ready to win him a chance. And they're so damn small. They're never going to win with the size they have. It continues to be an issue. They just are a huge mess. But the Warriors, like I said, and Paul, he's going to do what he's going to do, but he's not going to give us – he's not going to take us over the top. We need a big. And I look at the bigs, like I said, Stewart from Pistons. It's not going to happen. I looked at the contracts. That's not going to happen. Like, is Lance Jr. He's not going to take it. It's Larry Nance Jr. Drummond, he and Zach Collins are the most realistic guys I could see us getting as a Warrior. You know what I mean? Those are the top guys. And those guys aren't like unreal, but they maybe help us with a little bit of defensive size. Like, we have nobody. So to me, the Warriors aren't legit NBA title threats because of that. Like, they just, even with Draymond in there, they better have a perfect matchup along the way. You know what I mean? Like, they must have, like, it must be like Dallas. And you know what I mean? It can't be, they cannot be playing Denver. They can't be playing Milwaukee in these matchups. Like, it just has to be a center that's going to be more outside perimeter, or they're just not going to have a chance. And Clay, they don't have the scoring anymore. Like, okay, Poole's been terrible, I know, for Washington, and I know people are ripping on him, but like, for what Paul has brought, they don't have Jordan, or they don't have Doug, that other scorer that has the potential to get 20 points like Poole did. So as bad as he was in other areas, they are lacking some of that in the fast break department. Something they're just noticing. So it's just been kind of frustrating watching their games a little bit.
So what are your thoughts on the 21 minutes a game for Sarge? I mean,
we need to move him for a better player.
Yeah, if he's your let's see,
he's not going to get it done.
If he's your guy, if he's your seventh leader in minutes, I just don't think you're a contender.
He needs to be our third center. He's a third center. That's what he is. On a good team, he's your third center.
Yeah, I think you guys have an issue at center that we've definitely talked about a lot.
After seeing the Magic's depth chart and going after theirs, we have a huge issue. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at these other teams. I'm like, we have nobody. They have nobody.
I mean, and also the scoring is so bad right now. So bad.
Clay is way off.
Clay, I mean, he's playing terrible.
I mean,
has Tyler given up on him yet?
No, Tyler won't do it. And we're not trading him. We know that, but
I know
they're a huge concern for me. Who do you trust more, Dallas, OKC, or Minnesota? Minnesota is ranked first, OKC second, Dallas fourth. So, and Denver's third right now in the standings. Who do you trust a little bit more? If I just throw that teams, I threw it out there on a poll today with on the show. I'll get a little update on where we're at with that. But what do you think I have right now when I threw it out there? We had 13 votes. Mavericks are leading the charge. Most people trust, as of right now, Dallas, Minnesota second, Thunder third. Come playoff time. Do you have a feel towards one of those?
So
teams?
they trust Luka and Kyrie just to outscore people.
I guess that's what it seems like.
I don't know if I like Derek Lively. I think he's played really well this year, but I don't think they could beat. I don't think they could beat the Nuggets. I don't think they could beat. I think they'd have a really hard time with the top two. Let me see.
Who do you trust? Come on, who are you putting your chips in? Who's going to go farther?
Out of those three, I guess I would probably pick Dallas, just because I think they have the best individual player, and I don't trust Cat come playoff time. We've not seen SGA do it in the playoffs. We know Luka is really good in the playoffs as an individual. We know Dallas hasn't done as well. I guess Dallas is the answer, but they've got to do a little bit more with their roster. I know that's hard for them.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to side with Dallas, even though in my mind, I don't think unless Ant becomes like Michael Jordan light, I don't really trust them. So
it's an interesting question.
Give me Dallas. Yeah, I'll take Dallas right now.
To me, it's an interesting question a little bit. Like, just like, because you look at the standings and you're like, man, it feels like any of these teams can win this round right there. So, like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a little bit surprising with where they would go with it. That's just where I looked at. I want to give a little scoreboard update here. Pacers leading the Pistons 85-82 in the third. Rockets 84-67 over the Nuggets late in the third quarter. Milwaukee holding on to a 1-point lead over the Wizards in the third. Sacramento up 14 on the road against the T-Wolves there, Doug. Earlier finishes, we mentioned Orlando beating the Celtics. Memphis lost to the Suns. Later on the night, you have the Warriors and the Spurs and the Clippers and Pelicans also going on here. Raptors beating the Bulls as well. So a lot going on here in the NBA on a Friday night. A couple other Western Conference notes here is LeBron. He's not slowing down. Last 5 games, 28, 35, 37, 17, 26. The Lakers seem like they've already clinched the number 1 seed in the season tourney as well. You give LeBron a little nugget, right? Just a little nugget to make him a little bit like in that. It just seems like that would motivate him a little bit. So he's there with that. I'm still curious when I look at their roster though, like Reddish and Christian Wood. Like to me, it's just like, can they get something from those guys? Those are like the game changers because we know what we're getting from AD. You know what you're getting from Russell, Reeves, Hachimura. Their top 5 is kind of set, but can we get something from the other guys there? So I don't know. LeBron not slowing down at all, Doug.
They need to get Vanderbilt back and healthy too to help improve their defense. This LeBron thing, it just keeps going and going. I just cannot believe he's still this good. It's hard for me to believe that he's just this good still. I mean, his shooting numbers are all up. Everything is up. His 3-point percentage, he's shooting 41% on almost 6 attempts a game. That's crazy. I don't. They're missing that third piece. I expected Austin Reeves to be a little bit better this year, and he hasn't been. But I think D'Angelo Russell's been a little bit better offensively this year than I expected. So that kind of evened out. What do you think the Lakers could do to get to one more notch up?
It's to me, it's all about AD. That's why I wrote down as when we're taking notes. I think it's Christian Wood and Reddish. I feel like those are their guys. Like to me, the way the roster is constructed right now, those are the guys that are going to take them to the next step. Christian Wood, yeah. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying I look at his numbers from before, and you're like, these are guys that maybe you would think make a difference 2 years ago. They go to a different team. We've kind of talked about the trade market's kind of slim right now at the moment.
Yeah,
it really is. Like it does feel a little slim right now with it. So I also had a couple other West Coast notes. I'll go through it fast. Pop gets mad at the fans.
That was so sad that he did that. That was so lame.
That's a get off my lawn moment, right?
That was so lame. Jesus,
Kerr not happy with the Suns music, a little loud in the arena. I will say that is an annoying thing to me. Like I just not like a thing for the Warriors. We don't have to play music all the time when there's a game going on. You can just let them play basketball for a few minutes or something.
I think that's fair, but at the same time, I doubt anybody on the court has a clue that music's going on.
Curry said it on this one podcast that we don't even realize it out there.
So
but as a coach, you're probably realizing they can't hear you.
Sure, as a coach, it's probably different, but your players don't know. It's come on.
No. CP3 gets tossed again by Scott Foster.
That's a rivalry as old as time. Scott Foster. That guy just comes off as an asshole.
So CP3 gets tossed by him again. Booker takes a little shot at Ayton, saying it'd be nice if he played hard tonight. If he does that every night, he would be a great player. So he takes a little shot at him.
Yeah.
Jokic gets teed against Detroit. I mean,
how'd you feel about that one? That was rough.
Doug, how do you think I feel? I mean, that is as soft as it gets.
You love toughness, and
that is as buttered tough as it gets right there. I mean,
you love a good fist fight in your basketball game.
I mean, what is this, 6th grade basketball? Are we ejecting guys for arguing with people? Like, if that's the basketball you want and you want to pay money to see that and get your player ejected, God bless you. I don't want that.
That was bad. It was bad.
Pathetic. So he gets that OKC on a 6-game winning streak. Josh Giddey, good luck.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, man.
Good luck. Boy. Good luck with that one, sir.
Wow.
Wow. Talk about a Thanksgiving.
Just wow.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Doug.
I don't even know. That's so, oh, man.
Remember that happened to Edelman after the Super Bowl. Now, he wasn't with a minor reportedly, but he was the same thing happened where a lady tweeted the same thing.
But this girl's 16.
Is that true though? Like that's what I have research. I know the rumors.
based on what's been exposed so far, she's 16.
Mr. Giddy, good luck. You were probably out of the league. You're probably going to be suspended a good amount and probably in jail.
Enjoy Japanese basketball.
Enjoy Japanese. Chet's been unreal for him, though.
So
He's
good.
been awesome for him.
That guy is amazing.
My last West Coast note, I know it's been injury-wise, but Scoot hasn't been good for him. He gets sent down for the Blazers. He's Scoot Henderson rehabbing in the G League, see if he can pick it up. He has not been very – I thought he'd be a lot better. It's early still, but you have to be a little worried if you're a Blazers fan.
I'm worried for them. I thought he would be better. But, again, small guard who attacks the rim, I think that, he's obviously not Ja Morant. But it just takes time. He's shooting 32% from the field. That's rough.
He has to figure out.
If you look back, it's just small guard. It's going to be tough. Luckily they went out and got Brogdon and some guys to help with that, because Portland's been a fun watch, even though they're not winning games. They've been a fun watch. He's got to be better for them. He's got to be better, No,
no doubt. He's definitely got to be better for them. The other part I have with the West Coast with the West Coast there was the inside was if we kind of look at the tourney a little bit, what are you kind of, as we kind of got through a few weeks of it, it's been pretty good. You had LA clinch it a little bit. Orlando they win today, so they give Boston a little bit of a run for their money for the conference. Indiana, you heard Halliburton say after the game versus Atlanta that it actually means something. He's never actually won anything, so for him it actually kind of means a little bit something. So I guess when the players get invested, it makes you a little bit more invested as a fan.
Right?
Is there anything you would like to see a little bit different? Like should they get an automatic playoff bid for winning this thing? Like, is there anything like you would, or are you kind of liking just for what you're seeing right now?
Fine. I think it's fine. I don't
mind the little lighter courts on some of them.
Yeah, let's tone down the colors a little bit. They're hard on the eyes. I think maybe we bump up the financial incentive next year a little bit more. I think it is what it is. I'm not overly excited. I'm not against it.
Do you care if the Cavs are in it right now or not?
I could care less. I just want them to win games. I don't care if it's in-season games. I don't care if it's regular games.
They're number 2 right now in East Group A right now, one behind the Pacers who clinched the spot.
I've never been more proud.
Yeah, never been more proud of them. Well, that's good.
It's just not something that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
To me, these are they're just regular games, just important games that we need to be winning. And No,
I hear you. It's been a while with it. So those are little standings. Check with it. I talked my Thanksgiving basketball earlier with my favorite basketball memory, Thanksgiving memory. Jamal Tinsley, the assist. I always say that's my favorite one. Yep. Just certain things, and we talked about last week with it with Thanksgiving memories there with it. On this date though, in NBA history, a couple things I wanted to point out to you that we had on it. Wilt Chamberlain grabbed 55 rebounds, a record today in the NBA. So 55 rebounds he grabbed on November 24th, 1960. Good luck to anybody breaking that record. The other one I wanted to point out.
How about somebody box out?
Box out, yeah. Box out, you wussy. One of my favorite NBA Jam players of all time with 3 assists in a 99-94 loss to Minnesota. Terry Porter of the San Antonio Spurs became the only player at that time in NBA history to record 15,000 points, 7 assists, 1,000 steals, and 1,000 3-pointers. So Terry Porter gets a little shout out on the show today a little bit as well. So good he was able to quite like I said, him and Clyde Drexler at NBA Jam were quite the duo there. So NBA date in history there with it. Doug, we got to do a lot today. I felt like this was a good show. We went over an hour. We usually go right at the hour mark, but we hit a few little extra notes there at the end, little Thanksgiving special stuff there with it. We're starting to get closer to Christmas time where a lot of people consider it NBA season, but I feel like that's where the in-season tournament has helped a little bit, got people a little bit more interested before Christmas. Yeah,
I think we had a really solid episode. I really enjoyed, getting on here with you tonight. A lot to talk about. Like you mentioned, we're usually right at that hour mark. We got the extra 10 minutes in today, talking top 5 point guards. Always interesting to see, that that opposite side of the coin, what do we bring next week? We talk point guards today. What are we going to talk next week to bring it in?
Well, I think next week, one thing I want to kind of get into a little bit as we kind of move into December a little bit is I want to get into the trade talk. I want to revisit that Howard trade. That was a big trade for me. So we'll kind of revisit that trade, spend a little time on that. I kind of want to see where the next storyline is next week. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we haven't talked on the Heat yet. They're starting to play a little bit better. We'll kind of see what players are starting to separate themselves. It was kind of fun to dive into the Magic. Pacers a little bit today as well. We talked about your Cavs a little bit as well. So it's kind of probably a little too much, but that's kind of been my part of it. I feel like with in-season tournament, we'll have a little bit more look at it a little bit. Kind of want to look at maybe some of the disappointments of the year so far, a little bit headed into the first couple months of the season. And we're starting to get into close to the All-Star time, believe it or not. So you got to look at some of those early flavors there with it. But to me, it will be really fun looking back at that Howard trade. I'll have a lot of good stuff for you with that. Some good article notes, some quotes. I'm looking forward to that. Some Iguodala stuff. So a lot of good stuff coming there with the double-double. We'll be doing the shout-out for Variety Sports Network as well. We'll also be doing the Talking the Gridiron Sunday. I know you'll be doing the tailgate with that. So we got football season going as well. So a lot of stuff going here on Variety Sports Network with that. I think this week I did a show Thursday, Friday. I did a baseball show. I did a football show, basketball show, and that. So it's been fun, like doing all that stuff. So it keeps me active with it, but the basketball is right there within. It's been today was a good show diving deep into some of this stuff. I don't even get talking to.
Busiest man in podcasting right now. Busiest man in podcasting.
Me and Rich Eisen. Right? No, it's good.
It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between you guys.
I said that it'd be nice to have the producer. We need a full-time producer here.
That would be sweet.
The soundboard, too. That's the other thing I need to get here. The soundboard is what I'm working on. I got my mic now, so I got that set. I got that delivered. I got to set all that up, so we'll get all that figured out here. But like I said, Doug, a lot to get into. We're 4 weeks away from Christmas. It was fun kind of checking with you this week with the NBA. I look forward to do it again next week, my friend, when we got it. So for Doug Stevens, check him out on Tailgate here Sunday mornings. I'm Daren Breyer. We'll see you next week, people. Peace.